Welcome to Inside Mental Health with Debbie. I am your host, Debbie Mulder. Today we are at the Season Center for Grieving Children, and we're going to go inside and talk to the folks who are running the center, why it's such an important staple in this community, how it came to be, and why we need to be talking more about grief among children. So I'm here with Kate and Paula, who help to support the programs here at the Season Center. And so I'm just wondering from both of you, if you can kind of introduce your roles and the different programs here at the Season Center. And I'll leave it to either one of you to start.
Well, my name's Kate, and I'm the program coordinator here at Season Center.
Great.
And I'm Paula. I'm the program services manager at Season Center.
Perfect. And just can you tell us about the different programs here?
So we offer peer support groups for children and teens who are grieving the death of a primary caregiver or a sibling. We also offer adult groups as well. We offer young adult groups and groups for adults who have had a partner or spouse who have died, who are grieving that loss and parenting a grieving child. And then lastly, we also offer groups for parents who have had a child up to the age of 24 who have died.
Yeah. And I can imagine that there are different roles for volunteers and facilitators to do here with these programs. Can you describe what those different roles are? And
absolutely. Yeah. So within the groups, we always have a paid staff member, a program or a group coordinator, and that group coordinator really oversees the whole entire group. And then in this organization, we have a great amount of volunteers who help support. So the volunteers really are the heart of our organization in terms of the amount of support that they offer to the families. We really couldn't do our role without their support.
And you did mention how many volunteers you have.
This past year we had 4 staff coordinating the groups, and then we had 47 volunteers supporting those families.
Amazing. And they all take on different roles, and they're visible to all the participants of the program.
Absolutely. And they form those bonds with the participants at the center, which is amazing.
Can you tell us about who is eligible for these programs? Who are you seeing?
We are seeing littles anywhere from the age of 5 all the way up to the end of high school, and then of course our young adults are up to the age of 24.
Great. I'm curious, so when you do the programs, how long can you do programs for?
So our programs at Seasons are open-ended, so that means families can start anytime throughout the process. Normally our groups run from September till June. So oftentimes we start with a good amount of people in September, but people are welcome to join throughout. And as well, they're welcome to leave whenever they feel they've gotten the support that they need, or if they've decided that our programs are not right, we'll find the right supports for them.
Right.
Yeah.
But they can continue to come.
Absolutely.
As long as they want.
Yeah. We've had kiddos here 5 and 6 years. When they feel that they're ready to move on, that's when they do.
Right. Yeah. The grieving process is so complex, and there are different layers to it. There are different emotions that are shown. Why is it so important to talk about grief, to work through grief? What have you learned throughout all of this, and what have you seen, and why is it so important?
Absolutely. Just normalizing grief is very important, especially for little people. Oftentimes when they come to us for support, this is the first time they've had a significant person in their life die. And oftentimes in their peer group, they may be the only person who has had, let's say, a mom or a dad or a sibling die. So being able to access our services allows them to feel that they're not alone, and they see somebody else kind of like them being able to share in that experience.
What a difference it makes to be able to come into a room and realize, you experience that too? You do too?
Yeah.
Right?
And you can see the light bulb moment for the kids when we go around and introduce ourselves in the group, and you can see them go, oh my gosh, it's not just me. And that's really special.
Oh, beautiful. I've gotten a tour of this place, and even just the room that we're in right now, so much significance, so much value. Can you describe the different areas in the different rooms that you have here at the Season Center?
Absolutely. Well, this is our circle room, and this is where we usually start our littles groups. So that 5 to 12-year-old age group, this is where our group starts every night. So we come in here, we share a little bit of our story, who we are and why we come to Seasons. And one of the beautiful parts, all the handprints on the walls, so everybody gets an opportunity to make their mark and put their handprint on the wall. And
Can you tell me about this tree?
Kate.
This is one of the most recent activities we did with both of our littles and our teen groups, actually. This is our gratitude tree. So as we approach the end of our season, we like to do lighter activities to wrap up and leave everyone doing well on their way out for the summer. And so all of our children and teens wrote down things on these leaves that they're grateful for in their lives. And we shared that together. And it's really special. What I love about this activity is it's something that every single participant who comes here contributes to.
Yeah.
Whereas for other activities, we do it in the smaller group settings, right? But everyone added on to this and created this beautiful tree.
Beautiful. And I can see all the different things that they're grateful for. Absolutely. And I do notice that, I mean, there's still some room on this wall, but we're taking up space on the ceiling. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to be a little bit creative this year. We actually started on the door, so
Right,
yeah,
right.
we're gonna. And there's a lot of history on these walls, and we're gonna have to find some more space in the center to carry on this tradition because it's pretty important for people.
beautiful, it's significant, it's so great. And just notice the words on the closet door here. And this are all the feelings that you would feel as it comes to. Why is that important?
I think it's important to allow them to feel their own grief and feel their own experience. Not every relationship is a good relationship. Not every death is a death that's been. It could have been in an emergency, in an accident. So there's lots of different feelings that all the kiddos feel, and to be able to talk about those and see somebody else in the group that has that same feeling is pretty amazing for the kids. Yeah.
So great. And then I noticed that there is this room, which I know my kids would love, but it's got the mats on the wall, and you can, the volcano room, right? What is the volcano room?
So we know that kids grieve very physically. They have a ton of emotions, a ton of extra physical energy. A lot of times, a caregiver may not be able to give them that outlet. So to be able to come into this space and work through those heavy emotions, the anger, the frustration, it's a great safe space for the kids really to be able to release some of that energy and feel a little lighter when they walk out the door.
So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And right next to it is the ball pit, which is
Another favorite.
yeah. So then that's just to like launch yourself in and just release all of that emotion.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Some amazing conversations have gone on in that room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talk a lot about erasing the stigma, and there is a huge stigma about grief and crying and showing that emotion. How are you at the Season Center working to erase that stigma and what the grieving process is?
I think a lot of it's in the language that we use, the way that we can all, including the littles, speak openly about anything that's going on. Whenever we start our groups, we let everybody know nothing's off the table for conversations in this room. It's okay to feel everything. It's okay to talk about everything. And so to really just open up that space and allow people to be vulnerable and be brave and talk about those things really helps to break that stigma and building community as well. This is a really, really special place where kids connect, caregivers connect. Often they'll form relationships that continue outside of the center, which is really rewarding for us to see and really lovely for them to build that community of people who have those similar experiences.
You both are doing amazing work here. The center is doing amazing work. And I want to thank you so much, Kate, Paula, for just talking to me and just having this great open conversation. You know, this might be the first time, but you did wonderful. So thank you both so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much, Deb.
Right, I am here with Haley, who is the Communications and Event Coordinator, and with Lisa, who is the Development Director. And, just talking about the Season Center and what you all do here and what the Season Center provides. It is an amazing, amazing place. I'm just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the Season Center and what it offers.
Definitely. So Season Center was established in 1995 after the deaths of Samantha and Jessica Ramey, who were young teens, and they lost their lives in a car crash in Horseshoe Valley. And shortly after their deaths, their father, Rolly Ramey, our co-founder, realized that there weren't any grief supports really for children in our community, and how much of a need there really was to help kids get through those big emotions that come along with grief. He realized that there was some supports for adults, and so he established, co-founded Season Center in December 1995, and so we've been supporting one since then, and so it's 28 years that we've been doing that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing. And we were talking briefly before about the uniqueness of the center, and the fact that this was probably one of the first in Ontario to provide this service. And now we have another one, but this, this Season Center was the first. What makes it so unique?
Well, Season Center is a very unique model. We were built or modeled after the Dougie Center in the United States. So yeah, like you said, we're the first of its kind, really, I think even in Canada. So what we do is we provide peer support groups in a home-like atmosphere. As you can see, we're in the art room right now, and the walls are covered in artwork from the children that attend our programs. And it's really a place for them so that they don't feel alone in their grief, and they're connected to other kids who have gone through a similar type loss. So why our programs are so unique is because we organize them in a way where the kids are in a group with a or similar type of a death. So we'll have kids ages 5 to 12 in a group with other kids who may have lost a loved one from suicide or overdose. Those are our two biggest growing groups right now. And they're each partnered up with a buddy. And so they have that one-on-one support in a group atmosphere with other kids that have gone through something similar. Right. And we, since the pandemic, we also began offering a virtual program. So that's new. So it helps to reduce barriers to access for folks that might not be able to get to the center, because we're downtown Barrie on 38 McDonald Street. But yeah, so we're really growing beyond our walls and offering programs where the community needs us. So we also offer an outreach program in the schools. So our outreach manager will go out into the schools and meet with teachers and help them support students through maybe a caregiver or a sibling has died.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And you did say this was a house, right? We talked, I saw it, I'm like, this is a house. Yeah. And the welcoming environment, they just come in and it's home-like feel. So it's so great. We talked about this room. I know that there's also a games room as well. Yes. And what's in this games room?
Oh my gosh, so this space is so fun for the kids. They absolutely love coming here. The games room, we have a foosball table, we have basketball, we've got an air hockey table, and we have like a whack-a-mole station. So you can only imagine how loud it is when the program is in session. And what's really cool is that the kids can really choose how they want to work their grief out. So after they do their opening circle, they can go and explore any of the rooms that we have, and they can make art in this room, or they can go to the games room and really get active, or they can go to the volcano room and get out, that frustration and anger that they might be feeling.
Yeah. And it is like a house. Yes. I will say that not allowed to draw on the walls of my house, but they can come here and do it. It's fantastic. So it's just a great, unique space and support. How do you receive funding for at a Season Center?
So Season Center relies on the generosity of the community, and we have done since we opened our doors 28 years ago. So we're so grateful for the community for putting their hands in ours and helping to heal hearts with hope. There's so many different avenues that people contribute support. So some will host third-party events. We have individual and corporate donations, grants, in memoriam gifts or tribute gifts for people who want to honor loved ones, and monthly donors too, which really help us to provide that sustainable source of funding to keep our doors open, because we are relying on the generosity of the community through donations to make these programs happen, and they're all free of charge. So none of our participants have to pay for our programs and services, and we have to raise about $1,600 for each individual for 1 year. Wow. Yeah, to support them in our peer support group. So
Beautiful. I thank you so much for that, Lisa. And speaking about stories and just the effects of the Season Center, Haley, I do know that you have your own story.
I do.
Related to this, and just the fact that now you are here, supporting the center. But can you tell us your story?
Yes, of course. So my dad was 18 years old when he lost his dad to cancer, and about 2 months after that, his brother passed away by suicide. So the grief he went through within only a few weeks was unimaginable. And unfortunately, I never had the chance to meet them. So how I look at it is I kind of call it secondhand grief, because I never met them, but I see how my dad struggled. I see how he still to this day is struggling with his grief. And so within this role, why I love working for Season Center is I'm able to help with events and having conversations with the community about grief and death, because as we kind of know, no one likes to talk about those topics until it happens to them. But if we can get to them first before anything happens, they know that Season Center is out there to help them.
Yeah, and just that stigma and knowing that grief is a reaction, and it's okay to not be okay. How do we get involved?
So if you want to get involved, you can help through volunteering, making donations, as well as hosting a third-party event. If you'd like to know more info on how to help out with any of these avenues, go to info@grievingchildren.com.
Perfect. And we need that support and involvement. So great. Well, thank you both. Thank you. You're amazing, and thank you so much for just giving us this knowledge about this great center.
Thank you for coming and listening and sharing and with your audience, and so appreciate the opportunity to talk about Season Center.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
So we're here with Rolly, who is the managing director and the co-founder of the Season Center for Grieving Children. Rolly, thanks so much for being here with us today and sharing your story and providing your wisdom towards what the Season Center is and how important this is.
Well, thank you for that opportunity.
I'm wondering if you could tell us about why the Season Center, why is it here, and how did this all come to be?
Well, Season Center started in memory of my two daughters that happened to lose their lives in a car accident in 1995. And through my wife and my therapy, what we learned was there was an awful lot of support for adults, but there was very, very little support for children. And it was really complicated for me and my wife. And we had all these life skills and life experiences and stuff like that. You know, you'd go to work and people would steer away from you or didn't know how to talk to you. You know, your friends didn't call you. And then if you can only imagine that through the eyes of a child, that's sort of why Season Center came to be.
Right. So you realize that there are children that are grieving in 1995, and now there are children that are grieving, and the support that was there wasn't.
Yeah, you know, and Season Center, this community came alive. It was viral before the word viral was really something. And there was money poured in from all across the world, the Terry Berry proper as well. And we transferred that money and that energy into building a center to support children that were experiencing loss.
Wow. So the community really came together to
it's the fuel that keeps us going today.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. You know, we talk about the grieving process and, you know, what you and your wife went through with the grieving process. Are you seeing that still today, or has it changed? Are people becoming more aware of what grief is and how important it is to grieve?
Well, I think they're more cognitively aware. I'm not so sure they're more actively aware. You know, which is interesting. Mental health, it's turning to grief that people think it is a mental health condition now. It's a little bit more normalized than it once was. And we're really paying attention to our children differently than we used to. We used to think, you know, discount a child, say, oh, they don't know what it is. But it's as real for them as it is for us.
Yeah, we talk about kids being resilient and, you know, they'll bounce right back and be fine. But they show in different ways how they are grieving.
Absolutely, and you know, and they're the most honest.
Yes.
They tell it to you exactly the way it is.
Right. You know, what a wonderful center you have here. And we talked about how this is a house. It is a house. You come in and you feel the warmth of this center. Where did that come from?
It's part of its secret sauce. I mean, if you're going to bring children into a home-like environment, there's automatically that level of comfort. We're bringing children together with other children that experience like losses. So there's a level of camaraderie, there's a sense of comfort. Yeah. You know, it makes that conversation much more easier.
Right. And the different areas, the different rooms that you have really spark that too, right? The kids can come in and just...
Absolutely. And, you know, grief is a very physical release, and our upper floor, those rooms are designed to give them that kind of experience.
You know, even just walking in to this space, like when you come in, you're walking into this room. Can you talk about the significance in this room?
Well, this is our family room, so this is where everybody comes and meets in the beginning. And on the walls you can see is all the children, or all the losses that the children have that we're supporting currently. So they can come here and they can always see that individual, that their loss, and we can talk about it and they can feel closer to them.
Right.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Absolutely, and right when you walk in, like, it's just beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
So we know why you started it, and we know why the center is here. We talked about, you know, first being one of the only ones in Ontario to have this program, which is so essential. What are your hopes for the center?
Yeah, it was the first one in Canada. We started a second one in Oakville, and my hope is that no child should ever grieve without being supported. And my hope would be that everywhere that there's a public health system or a community hub, that there's a season center there. Even in our own area, there's like 10,000 kids in Barrie proper, in our catchment area, that could use children's grief support. And we're only helping 1,000 of them at a time. So my hope is to be able to expand our footprint, to reach into those communities, to reach beyond our walls, to touch individuals in various different ways.
So as I understand it, there's 10,000 children in this area, and you're helping 1,000. So we're looking at 9,000 who aren't being supported.
Yeah, not all of them are ready to be supported, but at some point they'll need some support. And so we're trying to build our footprint beyond our walls. We've made arrangements to go into various different school programs. The loss not so long ago up the road there, when those poor unfortunate children went into the tunnel there. And, you know, so we can go anywhere there's a peer support group. And so that's kind of our mandate. And then we look inwardly and say, what are our unintended barriers to access here? What can I do different to make you feel more comfortable? How can we adapt our programming to address more cultures? And so therefore maybe we'll be able to pick up more of those people and be able to support more of those people.
Absolutely. And I think that goes along with the stigma too. When we talk about different cultures and understanding that grief is a normal reaction and we go through it and it's okay. Right? When it comes with tears, it comes with anger, it comes with joy, it comes with all of that. And that's exactly what you teach here at your programs.
Absolutely, you know, and I think we just need to be more open to that idea that we don't all grieve the same way. Some of our cultures are a little differently, it's not a linear process. So sometimes you can go through moments where you're crying and moments when you're happy, and that, you know, you can celebrate. Like for me, I cope by celebrating. My 2 daughters are a part of my life each and every day. I don't talk as them as they passed. I talk about them as they're still here. It's just different. I can't touch them the same way I used to touch them, but I touch them every day in my heart.
Right. Whew. What do you want your community to know? What do you want this community to know?
I want this community to know that there's a lot more work that we can do, and we need your help to do it together. You know, we know there's roughly a 9,000 person deficit in our community. I want them to reach out to people, let them know about the Season Center, what's one of our biggest challenges, and that we're here to support you, and there's no cost to our support.
Right. So you're here to support, but we need our community to step in.
Well, we are the collective we.
That's, yeah.
So I look for the community to give in capacities in ways that they can. So whether it's financially, whether it's volunteering, sometimes in-kind donations and stuff like that. But if we all put our efforts together, we'll be able to support more of these children. Absolutely. And the children that's not being supported has a much more complicated life going forward.
Absolutely. It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Rolly. I thank you so much for being a part of this. I thank you for welcoming us in here and sharing your story and the story of the Season Center, and that it just continues on.
Well, I want to thank you for increasing the awareness and taking the time to bring attention to this, because you're playing an important part as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching, and let's help erase the stigma of mental health together.